Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. This is Bird, and today I am actually going to walk you through installing buttonholes, and not just a buttonhole but also an actual button using my Pfaff Quilt Ambition 630. All right, so I'm going to try to get in as close as I possibly can, and also to show you a couple different angles. The first thing that you want to do is make sure that you disengage the IDT foot that's in the back. So usually you just press it to lower it. You just give it a little bit of a press, and that foot will come all the way back up, and you want to make sure that you remove that. I'm going to show you that from a different angle. Here we are again, looking at it from a different angle. This is what the IDT system looks like when it is engaged. Again, you just give it a little bit of pressure and then make sure that you lift it to get it out of the way. And then go ahead and grab your buttonhole foot. Should look like this. And again, we're using the Pfaff Quilt Ambition 630. This also works on the Pfaff Quilt Ambition 620. And you notice how I slid that in. Well, let me show you first. There's this little bar. Can you guys see that little bar? That is what your target is to actually place the device down on top of. So all that you need to do is, I like to line mine up, get it right underneath, and just sit it down. And when you do, it will lock in place. Sometimes it doesn't lock in place right away. You just move it forward or backward until it locks in place. That's the first step. I took the buttonhole foot off because there's something else that I do want to make sure to share with you. So this end here, you can see how it opens and closes. This is the gauge to determine how long your buttonhole will actually be. And so the way to do it is grab your button. You're going to slide it in. I'm going to try to do this because it's an odd angle. Whoops, let me try to grab that again. And I got a slippery button too. So you're going to slide it in, and you're going to just press it gently until it closes around your button. And then let me close it fully in. There we go. Once it actually closes around your button, then you know you have the right size. You have the buttonhole set on the right width, your buttonhole foot. So then you're pretty much ready to go. Now, this is personal preference. You can leave the button in there when you're sewing on the buttonholes, or you can remove it. It really does not matter whatsoever. And so I'm just going to actually move it to get it out of my way, grab my tweezers, and just move it completely out of the way. And then I'm going to go back to the machine, move my fabric out of the way for a moment, go back to the machine, and as we did earlier, I'm going to just lift the presser foot, lower it down, and have it lock into place right there. So we are good to go. There is this little silver lever that's right behind your needle threader, and you just want to simply pull it down. So it's right there. I'm going to use my tweezers so my fingers are not in the way, and you are going to just simply pull that down. Remember, you're going to be using your hand, but I didn't want to put my hand in the way. And when you pull it down, it will actually lock into place right behind that plastic buttonhole foot, this area here. And that is very important. So make sure that you pull down the buttonhole lever. All right, now go to the screen on your Pfaff. I really love how it is made so easy here. And you're going to just press here so you can change your stitch. Going to cycle down to the next row, and then you have, let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different buttonholes that you can choose from. I'm just going to randomly, I'll select this one, why not? And then once you do that, you will notice that the screen changes. It tells you what size, so you should have your buttonhole foot on, and it's pretty much all set to go. So all of these things are all set to go for a normal buttonhole. So let's go ahead, and all we would need to do at this particular point is you're just going to hit the start button and watch her make her magic. And there she is. All right, so the next thing that I want to show you how to do, because you have part of the closure all together with the buttonhole, and remember you have 7 different types that you can choose from, and this is just one that I decided to kind of play around with. But now we want to actually sew on a button. One of the things that I am not a fan of, I used to do it, was sewing on my buttons by hand and being stuck time and time again by the needle. Well, you don't have to do that any longer, so let me show you how to sew on your button. Going back to the screen, you want to again press your selection there for whichever stitch you're planning to do. And if you get in a little bit closer here, you'll see number 39 is for sewing on the actual button. So there are a few tricks to this, so let me show you what you need to do next. First thing we want to do is go ahead and press gently on the buttonhole foot. We want to remove that. You actually don't use a foot at all when you're sewing on your button. Push the buttonhole lever back up into place. And then I want to show you one more thing on the back of the machine before we're ready to begin sewing on our button. Now we have to lower the feed dogs, otherwise the system, your machine, will want to continue feeding fabric through the machine. So we have to lower the feed dogs on the back of the machine, and I removed my arm to be able to get to it. You just simply want to use your finger and press it all the way. Takes a little bit of muscle, but all the way to the right. So should be on the left. Press it all the way to the right to lower your feed dogs. All right, so go ahead and grab your button. Now, this one has 2 holes, sometimes it's 4 holes, but when you're sewing it on, it's always going to be 2 holes at one time. And then if you have a button that has 4 holes in it, you're going to do the first 2 holes, shift the button, and then do the last 2 holes. Now, you want to be able to line up those holes right next, in alignment with the way that the needle will actually swing into the buttonhole. So I'm going to give this to you from a different angle. The needle is going to swing right to left, so you want to make sure that you have your buttonhole lined up just like this so that the needle will be able to go in right to left. And then what you simply do is sit the presser foot without any actual presser foot on. You're going to sit that engagement, that mechanism down. And what I like to do is I first turn my hand wheel toward me a couple times, and as you can see, this was perfect, spot on, is I like to make sure that I have it lined up. Now you can make some adjustments if you happen to have a button where the holes are a little bit more narrow, or if they're wider, a little bit more widely spaced, you can make the adjustments. But as a general rule, not 100%, but as a general rule, buttons generally come with the same type of distance between the holes, but occasionally you may have to make the adjustments, and you can do that easily on your screen. So now that I know that the swing and the buttonhole the button is there properly, all that I need to do is press the start button, and she sews on the button. And then I hit the tie off button, and it's all good to go. But I want to show you one other thing. So this is where I mentioned that you can actually adjust the swing of the needle. Certainly you can do that over here by adjusting the swing of the needle if you have a button that has a more narrow or a little bit more spaced holes. Over here, you can decide how many times you want the stitches to run through your button. And this was just what is pre-programmed in the Pfaff Quilt Ambition, and it's at 8. I usually change this to, honestly, somewhere around 12. So let me get in there, and you just simply press up, and this indicates that it's going to go back and forth, and I'm going to have 12 times that the needle is going to be passing into the buttonhole. And so if I do that, then I look down at the button, I again press the start button, and the machine sews it in exactly the way that it was programmed. Don't forget, once you are done sewing on your button, you want to go back to the back of your machine and you want to press this lever all the way back to the left, and that raises the feed dogs. That's an important step. Otherwise, you'll go to sew and you're wondering what's going on. So we've sewn on the button, and we've also sewn on a buttonhole. Remember, there are several different buttonholes that you can choose from, and you have several different options as it relates to the button, how tight you want it, how loose you want it. So those are the basic instructions on how to sew on your button and also to install a buttonhole. Again, this is a Pfaff Quilt Ambition 630. My name is Bird. Thank you guys so much for following along. If you have enjoyed this video, please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like button. I appreciate you guys so much. Until next time, take care and happy sewing.